the drive home with TT for the Millwall drive home. Driving home from the Hawthorns, where it finished. West Bromwich Albion 1, Millwall 1. And it's weird because when you come back from being behind, away from home against Premiership chasing is another way of putting it. That's where they see themselves going. It feels like a win. There's no doubt about it. I feel like if you'd have offered me a point, I said it before the game, I would have taken a point before. Oh, yeah, you want us to win. You want us to win every game, and maybe we could have won it right at the end. But I think on the balance of play, a point was a fair result, and you can ask for no more than that. You know, we went to West Brom last year with a good first half against West Brom. The second half kind of fell apart a little bit and deservedly got beat. This year, again, it just shows you we've had 2 games against Preston and now against West Brom where we've looked completely different from last year. There's no other way of putting it. And more importantly than anything else, our bench now can change games, and it did that today. You know, you look at the strength of our bench, players like Matt Smith, Daddy Budvarsson, Ferguson, Aiden, you know, that's really, it's like so much strength on that bench. You've got Hutchinson that can come up and change, so we've got a really strong bench, and that could make a difference this year. We started with Bartosz Milikowski in goal. I felt like, again, he's put in a decent performance. Bart he looks more assured. He made a really good stop from basically a Cooper mistake, which let in, I think it was Zahor should have scored anyway, but somehow Bart's kept it out the back of the net, and all of the players really did that today. You know, they put their bodies on the line a number of times. We stopped them. You know, you've heard me say it quite a lot on this channel, and you've heard it from Millwall fans. When we sit back, which we're going to do because of the amount of time we're not going to have possession, you've got to put pressure on at certain times, and we did that really well today. We put pressure on where we could put pressure on. I said it to Zach a number of times, in and around the box, that's where you put the pressure on. Don't let them have time to pick out balls. Only once or twice did they do that. Bartosz Milikowski, like I said, looked really good, made a couple of good saves. They didn't get too many shots on goal, which shows that the back line and the midfield are working really hard, but he did what he needed to do. Sorry, the sun's shining and you don't want to see this is me in good lighting, that's why it's not really a really good camera. But Bartosz, I definitely think done enough to get a 7. Our back 4 lineup, I don't know what's that, back 4 times, but back 4 was Romeo at right back, Murray Wallace at left back, and the 2 centre back pairing again of Jake Cooper and Alex Pearce. Really good from the back line. Marlon done excellent defensively today. You know, he didn't let anyone get him. Well, in fact, none of the back line let anyone get in behind them today. They, like I said, they let them have the ball, and then really was compact. Obviously, Cooper and Pearce won everything in the air as they normally do, and I don't think, other than Cooper trying to play it from the back once and then getting caught, and we really should have got punished and we didn't. You can't really blame any of them. You can't really say they've done anything wrong. You know, all of them across the back 4 were consistent. Marlon Romeo came off injured, and Ferguson came on to replace him, and obviously he moved to left back. Ryan Leonard moved to right back, and I thought actually done a cracking job considering he's a central midfielder. I don't think he's going to want to play there more often than that, but he done a good job. But I thought all of the back 4, Marlon Romeo, by the way, has got an eye injury. We saw him after the game, and he was quite swollen actually. He's obviously got a finger in the eye. It was the only way that was going to stop us today. But all of them, I think they all deserve an 8, you know. And I say that because you're going away from home against a team that are pushing to where they're going to push to, and they really didn't cause us too many problems. And that's testament or tantamount to how good that they played in defence. We had a midfield 5 who tried to bottle up their midfield today. Midfield 5 of Conor Mahoney and Jed Wallace, who swap wings, play right midfield, left midfield, and then 3 central midfielders, 2 Holding, Williams and Ryan Leonard, and obviously the one in front, Ben Thompson. And we had Tom Bradshaw up front. Do you know what? I think I'm going to give everyone across the board a 7, because it's hard not to. All of them individually worked really, really well. And let's talk. I'll go through them one by one. It was a tough game for Wallace today. you know, he's done most of his work trying to track back, trying to give the defence a little bit more support. He couldn't really get too far forward. A couple of flicks and tricks, but I think he came into his own when we went 4-4-2. You know, he then looked really dangerous, Jed Wallace, and that's, I think he probably feels a little bit more comfortable playing in that formation, and he came alive after we went 4-4-2. The left midfield, Conor Mahoney, again very quiet going forward, done a lot of work defensively, and you could say that really all across the park. I think Ben Thompson tried to get in behind them and tried to put them under pressure. Ben had a few shots 20 to 30 yards out, battled hard, you know, won free kicks, but it was difficult for us to get anything. Like I said, we didn't create many chances until the change of, you know, when we went one behind, and then the game changed really. Before that, it was very much we sit back and pressure them. After they scored their goal, and their goal was from a very cheap foul, and you could tell that, I said to Zach, you know, you can see the cheap foul like that, and they've put the ball into the box, and I think it's come off Pearce and gone in the back of the net, and it's frustrating that we've conceded such a cheap goal considering how well we played. But once we went behind, Matt Smith come on, and the game changed for me. You know, Matt Smith, I'll say it now, was one man in the match without a doubt, because he won everything in the air. He bullied Bartley at the back. You know, he talks a lot, Bartley, but he got absolutely ruined by Matt Smith. And he brought Budvarsson into play. He was getting the wingers involved. He could even get him behind. You know, Matt Smith, even though he played 30 minutes, it's hard not to give him an 8.59, because I know he scored the goal. The goal was a ball into the box, knocked back by Pearce, and then Matt Smith hits it to the roof of the net, being in the right place at the right time. And it's 30 minutes of effort and work coming on, fully deserved the goal. And it was good because it obviously right in front of the away fans, right in front of us. Pearce is going mental, and then like really good celebration. And it was, the atmosphere from our boys today was really good, and it was a really good atmosphere. You know, it's hard to explain to people that are not passionate about football. It's hard to explain to people that don't go to football matches what scoring a goal and being in and around people you know and respect, and it's something really special. You know, being a Millwall fan is something different, and I absolutely loved it today. Now we'll move on to ref watch. Obviously give 5 minutes of injury time when there probably wasn't. It's hard to argue against. I felt like players from both sides went down easily, and he gave fouls. So he was, I think both teams kind of cottoned onto that pretty easy, that the ref's going to give fouls for pretty much everything, and he did for both sides, and didn't really let the game flow, which helped us today, because we didn't really want it to flow, because once they got on the ball, they did look dangerous. There's no, they looked dangerous in terms of an attacking threat. They didn't look dangerous in terms of scoring, and I think that's pretty much what the difference in the two teams were today. I'm happy. Like I said, that's Preston now and West Brom, two big sides. We've got a mediocre side of Sheffield Wednesday, although they've started well. And then we'll know, you know, 3 games in, you'll know more after 6 games. But I'm really happy with everyone's effort today, with the way everyone performed. It weren't great footballing wise, but which sounds silly, but I think we've done enough. Like I said, once we scored the goal, I think actually we looked more likely to score a second, and that will disappoint West Brom fans. I don't think they'll be very happy with the fact that they're playing against little old Millwall, and we've basically done a number on them. There's no other way of putting on that. So I'm driving down, I've come a different way, I don't know why I've come, driving down the M40 to get home, but I'm really happy with the way we've played today. Matt Smith changed the game, there's no doubt about it, and he was my man in the match. Referee weren't too bad in ref watch. What more can you want? Zach, who's your man in the match?
It was very hard. It was Bar, Thompson or Matt Smith. They all played. They were all very. They all just wanted to get the ball, and they're all passionate about Millwall, I think.
There you go. Players passionate about Millwall. When the players are passionate about Millwall, the fans are passionate about Millwall, and the manager's passionate about Millwall, we can do things. Let's just see what happens for the rest of the season. But 2 games in, I'm a happy bunny driving home. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, put your comments in below. You know I love reading them. Thank you very much for your support of the channel. Come on, you Lions!